Today we have a very smart, a very successful serial entrepreneur, Briar Prestidge. She's joining us, and she's one of those amazing young people who is doing so many things. And Briar is CEO of Deals in High Heels, which is a networking group, and she's also Briar Prestidge International. She's CEO there. Briar, welcome. Good to see you.
Thank you so much for having me. Hi, everyone.
Briar, what's your story?
So yeah, I've got quite an interesting career background, I guess. So I originally grew up on a very small farm in New Zealand, very close to the mountains. So I was growing up on a farm in New Zealand, and I think it was very difficult to see outside my farm. You know, I never envisioned moving out of the country, and you know, it's very much that small town mentality I had. It wasn't until I finished university, so I graduated with a Bachelor of Speech and Language Pathology, that I moved to Australia. And I think sometimes, you know, when you are feeling a bit depressed, when you're feeling a bit stuck in your life, you're not too sure what you're going to do, that's when you make the best decisions. I don't know if any of you have ever had those experiences before. So I decided to move to New York City. And it wasn't until that moment, when I was kind of pulling my bag through the busy streets of Manhattan, I didn't know anybody in the world there, that I kind of realized that with some hard work and some guts, that I could literally do anything with my life. So from there, I started working in real estate and sales. Following on from that, I then moved to London, and I worked as a recruitment consultant, where I learned all about business development, cold calling, all of that good stuff. And then I decided to start a side hustle on the side, which was my marketing agency, and also Deals in High Heels.
You know, in the transformation decade, as we go through this decade, what it's doing is democratizing knowledge, democratizing information, and the robots are going to be working hard for us and doing all the physical work. So basically what we end up doing is in terms of women's emancipation and gender diversity and gender balance, all of these things will just be a very, very natural thing. Do you feel that technology is getting us there fast enough, or do we need lots and lots of policy issues and behavioral shifts and change?
I know that for some of my contacts who work in corporate, it really is, they really do see that sort of gender, and perhaps there's a few more sort of controversies in there. I think, you know, what I'm really passionate about is, and the reason why I started Deals in High Heels is just, you know, we've all got so much to learn from each other. And I think if we're all communicating, if you teach me things that you know and I teach you what you know, then I really all do think we can grow as a collective. And just having, as a woman, I feel as well, a support network. You know, especially in Dubai, where we've all moved here from overseas, you know, we're all away from friends and family. I just think having a bit more of a community and people that you can go to if you ever need business advice or information is really important.
Looking at the softer side again, because, you know, as I said, you will live to 100 years, and so you've got a long, long time to go.
Yeah.
And we are now living in phases and ebb and flow in our lives. And a lot of our personal skills, integrity, trust, all of those things, and a lot of skills that women have even better than most men, which is intuition and collaboration and stuff. How do you think women need to start developing and learning and training themselves to really excel in the future? They're already doing so, but even more so.
I think for me, and something that I always really struggled with was, you know, sales when I first started, or, you know, speaking and having an opinion about something was something that I really struggled with when I started my career, but it's all practice at the end of the day. And I think I was very fortunate to have a manager at the time that really pushed and encouraged me to practice sharing my voice, because it really is hard when you first start. It's like with anything. A lot of the digital work that we do online, I work with very, very credible leaders across the board. You know, we've got a high-profile business strategist we work with, high-profile business coaches, but even when they're starting to share their voice online, it's almost like they're back at the start of their career. You know, they're a little bit shy, they don't really know what to say, that sort of thing. So I just would always really encourage people just to constantly be sort of pushing that comfort zone and sort of pushing outside your comfort zone, because at the end of the day, you know, that's the kind of area where you're really going to grow. And always be getting feedback from people as well, and just tweaking what you do slightly.
Stepping back, what advice would you give to your 16-year-old self?
Oh my goodness. I I think it was one of those things at school, you know, I used to work so hard and the curriculum is so structured and you're stressing about maths and all of these things that don't even matter really anymore, do they? So I think I would have told myself to chill out and just to go with the flow of the, you know, because you just never know what's going to happen. I think that's important because we always put so much pressure on ourselves to be, you know, to have the best job or the best car or to find the perfect person. Really at the end of the day, as if we just woke up in the morning, wrote our to-do list, executed it, you know, did some yoga or went to the gym sort of thing and just lived our lives, I think we would be a lot happier in general.
Isn't this extremely narcissistic? Isn't it self-absorbed? Isn't it like I'm just measuring myself by the number of likes I get, and if I don't get enough likes, I'm really depressed, and you know, and this is happening. A few people are successful and they'll do really well, but what about the vast majority of the people who are just decent, average, hardworking, good people who may not have all of that brand positioning and so on that you do? How do you manage that? How do you manage a normal person? Forget the stars. How do you manage a normal person?
So I'm really glad that you brought this up because it is a huge deal, right? I've had clients that have said to me, prior to us working together, because I always like to maintain a bit of you know, healthy mentality when it comes to stuff like this, but I've had people who have said to me that the first time they went viral to a certain extent, they were just watching and obsessing over the amount of likes that they got, right? But you don't have to have a significant following, you don't have to have likes or anything like that. You know, the important part is that you've got this online and offline approach. Like, you can't be online being all narcissistic, like what you say, and you know, I'm this, and then in real life people meet you and you're completely different, right? It doesn't really work like that. So it's really important that you are investing in things like your lifelong learning, for instance, you're upskilling, you know, you're meeting the right people, you're out at networking groups, and just as well, you're leveraging relationships and you're collaborating.
And your final comment in terms of the future of women, what are your thoughts, any takeaways that they should be inspired? Because you're a role model and inspire us.
Thank you. So I think, yeah, just continually learn, ask people all the time for their opinion, their expertise. You know, I just think we've got so much to learn from each other at the end of the day, don't we?
Great. Briar, thank you very much indeed. Thank you for being so candid and open. Big hand for Briar.